She was just 16, a small-town girl with a big heart and quiet dreams. On April 12, 2016, Mekayla Bali walked out of her high school and was never seen again. What happened to her in the final, fateful hours before she vanished has left a trail of haunting clues. Grainy surveillance footage, desperate phone calls, and a shattered family still searching for answers. This is the disappearance of Mekayla Bali, and the mystery that continues to grip Canada and the world. Every missing person case begins with questions. Where did they go? Who were they with? But in Mekayla's story, the more you dig, the darker it gets. An ordinary morning turned into a series of chilling, calculated moves by a teenager who may have been trying to escape, or walking straight into a predator's trap. And nearly a decade later, her face still stares out from missing posters. Today, we'll follow Mekayla's final footsteps, the complex investigation that followed, and the theories still circulating about what really happened that day in Yorkton. Born July 2, 1999, Mekayla Jade Bali was known to family and friends as smart, shy, and kind-hearted. She adored animals, loved playing the violin, and was an avid reader of fantasy novels. She lived with her mother, Paula Bali, and her younger brother and sister in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, a quiet Canadian town of around 20,000 people. According to Paula, Mekayla wasn't rebellious. She didn't party. She wasn't the type to run away. But like many teens, she kept parts of her life private, especially her online activity. On the morning of April 12th, Mekayla left home, kissed her mom goodbye, and headed for Sacred Heart High School. Witnesses later said she appeared distracted and restless. She used her phone frequently, even asking a friend for a ride to Regina, a request they declined, thinking it was just teenage drama. By 11:59 a.m., Mekayla left the school premises. The next 2 hours would be captured on a patchwork of security cameras that would fuel speculation for years. 12:05 p.m., Mekayla enters TD Bank, withdraws $55 and leaves. 12:10 p.m., she stops at the Trail Stop restaurant, adjacent to the Yorkton bus depot. She appears anxious, repeatedly checking her phone. 12:23 p.m., Mekayla leaves the restaurant and is later seen at Tim Hortons, making multiple calls on a payphone, including one to an unknown number that investigators have never been able to trace. 12:45 p.m., she returns to the trail stop, orders a meal, and sits alone for nearly an hour, occasionally glancing at the parking lot. 1:45 p.m., Mekayla leaves, standing briefly by the depot. Witnesses recall seeing her speak with an unknown man outside. And after that, nothing. No bus ticket, no confirmed transport, no subsequent CCTV. A teenage girl simply vanishes. By evening, Mekayla's mother realized something was terribly wrong. Mekayla wasn't home for dinner, wasn't answering calls, and none of her friends knew where she was. Paula called police immediately. The RCMP launched an extensive search, door-to-door inquiries, interviews at local businesses, roadblocks at highways, and review of over 400 hours of CCTV footage. Phone records showed calls to a long-distance number in Prince Albert, later determined to be a dead end. Another call from a payphone, made at 12:59 p.m., remains a key mystery. Investigators issued public alerts, broadcasted appeals on national news, and even brought in private search and rescue volunteers. But days turned to weeks, then months, and no trace of Mekayla. Early in the investigation, several chilling leads emerged. A man driving a dark SUV reportedly seen speaking with Mekayla outside the trail stop. The man has never been identified. Multiple unconfirmed sightings in Regina, Saskatchewan, and as far as Edmonton. Anonymous online tips claiming Mekayla had been communicating with an older man through social media and encrypted messaging apps. To date, no suspect has been arrested, and no physical evidence tying anyone to her disappearance has been recovered. Experts believe Mekayla may have been lured by an online predator. Evidence later surfaced suggesting she frequented chat rooms and messaging apps, seeking connections beyond her small-town life. Theories range from a planned meeting with a stranger that turned deadly, coercion by a trafficker posing as a friend or boyfriend, or a grooming relationship spanning months, culminating in that final meeting. RCMP cybercrime units attempted to access Mekayla's social media, but key accounts had been deleted or altered shortly after she disappeared. Another eerie detail investigators have never publicly explained. For Paula Bali, the torment never ends. In interviews, Paula has described the helplessness of receiving false tips, prank calls, and cruel online messages from people claiming to know where her daughter is. Each new lead is both a flicker of hope and a fresh wound. The Bali family has worked tirelessly to keep Mekayla's face in the public eye, hosting annual vigils, launching a hashtag #FindMekayla social media campaign, and raising a 100,000 Canadian dollars reward for credible information. Narrator: some have criticized early investigative efforts. Potential witnesses weren't interviewed quickly enough. Key phone records and digital data took weeks to process. The RCMP initially downplayed Mekayla's risk level, believing she may have run away, a critical delay in those first 48 hours. Local advocacy groups have since called for reforms in how authorities handle missing teen cases, particularly those involving suspected online grooming. To this day, theories persist. She was trafficked and remains alive in another province or country. She willingly left only to meet foul play shortly after. Or, most chillingly, someone local hiding in plain sight knows what happened. Nearly a decade later, Mekayla Bali's disappearance remains one of Canada's most agonizing cold cases. A teenage girl with no known enemies, no reason to run, gone without a trace. And behind every headline is a mother still waiting, still hoping. If you or anyone you know has credible information, contact RCMP Crime Stoppers or your local police authority. And to the one responsible, know this: people haven't forgotten. Her name still echoes in the streets of Yorkton. Narrator: before you go, if this story moved you, if it made you feel something, then help us keep Mekayla's story alive. Like this video, share it with your friends and family. You never know, your share might reach the one person who holds the missing piece of this haunting puzzle. Drop a comment below. Tell us your theories, your thoughts, or simply send a message of strength to Mekayla's family. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more deeply researched true crime cases like this one. Stories that deserve to be heard. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, because together, we shine a light on the forgotten, the lost, and the silenced.